Welcome back. You're tuned into Bazaar Morning Call, and as we've been telling you, we're bracing for a terrific Thursday because the Fed has delivered a dovish stance. Well, to help us out with some analysis on all the stocks that we just discussed, well, we have with us our market expert, Dipan Mehta, Director at Elixir Equities, who joins us on the show. Hi, Dipan. Good morning. I think that's a tinge of green that you're wearing, if I got that correct. But the markets are expected to be green today. Yesterday, you had the IT index that was a little bit nervous going into this event. But today, the IT stock should be back. If you're looking at buying IT names, what would be top of the pack?
Good morning, Nigel. That's just a coincidence that I am wearing green.
No, it's a good coincidence, right? You've got it right.
On the day where it's going to be another green day for the market. And you're right, I think IT will come back into focus. Large cap stocks will come back into focus because we will see a risk on trade, hopefully. And that will mean more FII flows into the country. And they usually will go for the large cap companies, which have been a bit of a laggard, the likes of Reliance, HDFC Bank, ICICI. To an extent, you could even add Larsen and Toubro to it, and some of the other larger companies. If you see the entire sectoral charts of the NSE, then IT has been amongst the underperformer, about 12% higher year to date, as compared to, say, the mid-cap stocks or even the PSU index. So there's a catch-up that IT can certainly play. And the most interesting part about the IT stocks is that a lot of these companies have won huge amount of contracts and order wins over the last year or so. It's just that the execution has been slow. And to that extent, the recovery will be faster in IT revenues and profits than in earlier periods when there was a slowdown in tech spending. And IT remains central as far as spending is concerned by corporates. It's just a matter of confidence. And once the confidence comes back, I think software companies should report much higher revenues, and most of it does flow to the bottom line.
Okay. Dipan, hi, good morning. I wanted your thoughts on TVS Motor, which was a big stock that moved yesterday. And all eyes are now on Ola Electric's launch IPO that comes out. Perhaps they're filing the DRHP on the 20th of December and then the IPO. But now, TVS is really gaining ground in this electric two-wheeler space. The stock is very expensive, agreed, but would you still buy it at this price?
Yeah, good morning, Sonia. You're right. It's an expensive stock, and there are reasons for it. I think it's the single company which is present across all the price points and all the segments within the two-wheeler industry, and it has made a success in each of those segments. So from that point of view, it has a far more de-risk business model than a lot of the other two-wheeler companies. And overall, I think the industry is seeing a good upswing, and a lot of volumes are also picking up. And there's a good premiumization trend also playing out in the auto industry. So all of these benefit TVS Motors. It's a well-managed company. If you go back into the times when the two-wheeler industry was struggling, this was one company which continued to outperform and gain market share. So the higher P multiples are certainly justified. Return on equity also is amongst the highest in the industry. So maybe at corrections, it would make sense to buy into TVS Electronics. They're always ahead of the curve when it comes to figuring out the trends in the two-wheeler industry. And I think they will certainly be amongst the winner in the electric space as well. Having said that, it's a company in which we and our clients are invested in. So to that extent, I think one needs to mention this disclosure.
Got it. Dipan, the other big theme has been PSUs, right? The Nifty PSC index yesterday also was up about 2.5%. And it's just not PSU banks, but everything else in the space, maybe except defense, which is taking a bit of a breather. We had advised in the form of maybe buying into a PSU mutual fund. I think it is Invesco, which is Invesco runs a fund which is pretty small in size. You think one should seriously consider if you already don't have exposure to that space because it's done well and it's still relatively valuation-wise not that expensive.
Good morning, Prashant. That's right, I think. But just buying stocks because they are cheap doesn't always work. I think tactically you're better off buying into financials or IT stocks for this point of time. You could expect outperformance within those two segments over the next 3 to 4 months, maybe 6 months as well. PSU still remains a great long-term story because reforms over there and increased government spending and a lot of other factors, P re-rating certainly benefit these companies. And in May 2024, if BJP does come back to power, then this rally will certainly gather even more momentum. But I think next few months, you could see a bit of a pause in this particular segment or sector. And I'm more hopeful of some of the laggards, because if you want the index to move up to higher levels, 15-20% over the next year or so, then it's the laggards like IT, financials, which have to take on the burden and take on the leadership position and take the indices higher.
All right. We have a couple of stocks on our radar as well. So very quickly, let's look at them. Dipan would invite you to listen into the conversation on that.
No, I think it's a great business, and all these original equipment suppliers like PG Electroplast, and you could add Amber to it, and Dixon, they've really created a lot of value for investors. It's just that at 60 times plus for a typical B2B business, it doesn't really seem that exciting at this point of time. But I think if you're holding shares of PG Plus, then it should remain invested.
All right, remain invested if you're holding on to PG Plus. Very good business. Let's slip into a quick break. On the other side, Anuj will be joining in for a quick trade setup. Post that, we'll bring you the top stock picks for the day from our technical and F&O experts. Stay with us.